Some days are just Tuesdays. You're listening to The Bearded Theologians, hosted by Zach Bechtold and Matt Franks. If you'd like to find out more about The Bearded Theologians, you can go online at beardedtheologians.com. Welcome to the Bearded Theologians Beardcast for July 7th. I'm Matt Franks.
I'm Zach Bechtold.
And this week on the Beardcast, we're going to talk about humor and its importance in the church. And so I'm going to let Zach introduce our guest for today.
We have a special guest with us today. His name's the Reverend Jeremy Shank. He's out of the West Ohio Conference of the United Methodist Church. And I got to know him over Facebook a little bit over the last year or so. And he does some really cool things. He works with United Methodist Memes, the page there on Facebook, and that's kind of how we got to know each other. And you know, when we started the meme contest, and so we wanted to bring these guys on board and talk to us about humor in the church and kind of what that means. And so, Jeremy, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you share us a little bit of that experience of humor in the church that you guys get and that you've experienced.
Oh, wow. You know, humor in the church is so important, and I know when I first got to my current appointment, my audio-video guy here at church, when he does the PowerPoint presentation for our Sunday morning service, going into the sermon on Sunday morning, he always finds a picture of something. His wife will usually point up there, and I turn around and look at it. I'm like, oh, man. And crack me up some mornings, and I have a hard time getting started in the message because of the picture that he puts up there on the wall. And I was not a meme person. I had no idea what memes were until about 4 years ago. And the lady who started the United Methodist Memes page, she's an ordained elder in the church, and she got it going, and I started following her page and seemed to learn and figure out what memes were. I guess the first meme, people will say historically, the first meme, first reference to a meme was the sign Kilroy was here, the little guy with his nose and his face poking over the wall, which was popular back in the Vietnam War. That was the first meme people say was popularly used out there, and so it kind of built from there, taking a picture, putting some kind of phrase on it with a reference to what it is that you're talking about, making a humorous point, making a political point, making some sort of reference to things. So 4 years ago, I got into it when this lady who started the memes page brought us all in. There's 4 of us on the United Methodist Memes page. Two of us want to be anonymous there. Their anonymity is important to them. And 2 of us don't care. You know, we're just opening up and sharing what we have there. So I'm on the West Ohio Conference here in the Foothills District. The other gentleman is John Fletcher. He's on the Rio, Texas annual conference down there in Texas. They refer to him as the Crazy Texan. And John makes some, I make some. The other 2 chime in with theirs. And we just have a really good time of it. It's just fun to take United Methodist thought and theological issues and issues of polity and practice and just quirky things that we do here in the church that sometimes don't make a whole lot of sense, and turning them on their heads with a meme about something and making people laugh. You know, we need to lighten up sometimes, and especially right now, as crazy and as tight as things are. Dare I say anything about General Conference this year at all, and how crazily hurtful, and it was just bad. It was a really bad year at General Conference, and I need to pull away from that sometimes and laugh a little bit. If we can turn anything on its head and laugh about it and lighten the situation, great. That's what we're here to do.
I think so. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've got up in the pulpit at an 8:15 or 8:30 service and opened with a joke, and silence. And it's like, guys, it's okay to laugh. We're here to have a good time and learn, and sometimes, you know, it's so good with that, and you know, you get some chuckles and things, but you know, we do forget to laugh sometimes. You know, church and life and things become way too serious, and we just get so covered up by them and so involved in it, and we forget to laugh. So, I mean, I appreciate what you guys do and the laughter that you guys bring to the church, because, man, anytime we can turn this over upside down and be able to laugh at ourselves, I think we're doing a healthy thing.
Well, and that's one of the problems I have with humor. If I'm handed a mic, a handheld mic, I go into stand-up comic mode, and so I forget what I'm actually preaching on, and I literally do a stand-up comedy bit. And so I try to make it a general rule that I either have a lapel mic or over-the-ear mic, because there's just something about it for me that once I grab that mic, I become a stand-up comedian, and it's kind of hard on me sometimes to rein back on the stand-up comedy bit, because it's kind of blood in some ways.
And I think God called many of us into the ministry because He saw us as children, saying whatever we wanted to say and cracking people up, and you know, our mother slapping us across the face because, you know, our humor was off the wall, and so God looked down on us and said, "Yeah, that guy's perfect for the ministry right there." And, so you know, it's what it takes. I mean, just being willing to stand up and being used, you know, of Him, and humor is absolutely a tool that God can use, and we need not shy away from that. So.
I think you're absolutely right. We can't shy away from it. We got to use that gift that He gave us and use it to our advantage, and make people feel comfortable, make them laugh a little bit, make them feel like they're at home. It's such an important thing. It's good stuff, man.
And do you feel like both of you? Do you feel like both of you in your current appointments feel that sometimes, in order to break the tension of life, that humor is necessary versus just trying to be serious all the time? Because there are, let's be honest, there are serious topics that we probably need to be addressing. We can talk about all the violence and against one another, but breaking up the tension within the pews is important. Do you feel that that's something you all feel that you can do easily, or is it something that you need to work in, like actually craft it as part of your sermon when you're sitting down and putting together your message for the week?
Oh boy, yeah. Go ahead, Zach.
You know, usually if it's a serious topic like that that needs to be broken up by a little bit of humor, it's crafted into the sermon a little bit. You know, or even I like to find places in the welcoming, when I'm welcoming at the beginning of the service, to work those types of things in. You know, start off with we're gonna have a good time today, and you know, there's some serious things going on, but it's okay to laugh, and it's okay to mourn in those things as well. But know that all of those emotions that you have are welcome here today. And so I try to find those really intentional places through the welcome, through the sermon, to craft those in.
I feel that since, you know, I'm going to be 45 this year, which I don't look like that at all. I'm 45 at all. But I'm going to be 45 this year, and I think, you know, since the time I was a kid, I think maybe we've loosened up a bit as far as sharing our emotions go in the church. I know I grew up.
I think we lost him.
I think we did too.
Well, that happens from time to time. Maybe we can try to get him back and see where we go. If not, we have a funny picture of him that we could possibly take a picture of in meme.
That's right. Screenshot that.
Hey, it happens, and this is something that, you know, in this day and age that we have to deal with when we're doing something live. And we do this live. We try not to cut it as anything as possible because it makes it difficult. But like I said, we have one of those things that kind of come up. As Zach's trying to get Jeremy back, some of the things that when we think about humor in congregations, that it does kind of break the tension level a little bit. And if we can laugh together on something, it does help the people in our pews kind of relax a little bit. And maybe if they're having a bad day, that they can come to a place where there is some laughter in the midst of a struggle. And I think that that's always healthy for us to have that kind of humor. And so it's something that we should think about when we're crafting our worship services, not saying that we have to know when we're going to insert the humor, because I think far too often that kind of humor goes on deaf ears. And it's amazing to me how many times in a sermon where I thought this was going to be funny and it has fallen flat, but then something that wasn't supposed to be funny was hilarious. And when I was at my previous appointment, it was amazing that I could get the 8:30 service to laugh, and that was a hard service. It was a hard service to get people to laugh in, but there was something about my personality that was able to open that up. And I think that that's part of the key when we talk about humor, especially in worship. It's got to be a part of your personality, and it has to be who you really are versus trying to force it. And I've been in congregations and I've sat through sermons where people have forced humor. And while people have laughed, I don't know if they've really made the connection to the humor and into the gospel message that's being proclaimed. And I think that that's something that's important, is that however you want to insert humor into your worship when it's necessary, how authentic is it going to be for you? Or are you just trying to force a laugh just to get people to laugh? And so I think that that's something to think about. What do you have to offer up, Zach, while we're waiting?
Well, and that's one of my favorite things, as your congregation gets to know you and as people get to know you and get your sense of humor. You don't have to craft those things in. They just come naturally, and people do. There's some folks that's just over their head, or it seems forced to them, but it does. It comes more natural when you build that relationship with folks, and that's kind of what I've noticed. That's how I know that I'm building that relationship with my congregation. They know me, I know them, when you don't have to craft those things in, when you don't have to try real hard to be funny. They get you, they laugh, they're walking there with you, and you're walking there with them. And I think that's a really great place to be. I don't know what happened with Jeremy, but man, we're glad that we had him on. He's got a book that just came out. It's called, if you want to talk about humor in the church, his book is called Fried Chicken and Burritos: A Place for Comfort Food. It's a really great book about just him. He's opening himself up, talking about where he was as a pastor a few years ago, what he was writing his sermons about, and how he just he became bored with them. Didn't like what he was preaching, and just kind of that self-revelation and moving forward and using humor and using those ideas to write sermons and connect with people. And so we want to encourage you guys to pick that up on Amazon. You can get it for the Kindle. It's a great little read. I believe he has a blog that goes along with it. We can post that up on the Beardcast as well, or on the Facebook page. But it's called Fried Chicken and Burritos: A Place for Comfort Food. And the title itself just makes me take a nap. Just that feels so comforting to me. I'm hungry, so it doesn't help. But what we'll do, I guess we'll Matt, you want to talk about the meme competition for a minute?
I guess I was thinking that maybe we could spend a little bit more time on our conversation with humor. Before we move into that, just to give maybe just to give Jeremy maybe another shot, or find out what's going on. Maybe in West Ohio they run on hamster internet, and maybe the hamster got tired and they're replacing the hamster.
The hamster went to lunch.
I can't tell you how many times in a serious thing, and my family was kind of raised on this, is that humor kind of does help us grieve whatever it is. And I know with my mom, when she passed, I think we spent more time telling the funny stories than we did the not so funny stories. Those serious, heartfelt moments we shared, but I think we definitely talked more about the funny things, and it was through that humor that helped us laugh and help us kind of mourn and grieve a little bit better than just trying to, just get you being serious all the time.
Awesome. We have Jeremy back.
Hey, I'm so sorry. We had a major power failure here, so had to.
Oh, no problem.
Hamsters. The
It
hamsters.
is. We figured
Sorry.
the hamsters on the internet wheel had to be replaced.
I'm telling you, we lost everything here. Had to reboot completely, and so I'm just glad we got back in here. So
Yeah, yeah, we are too. We're glad to have you back. You know, it's one of the fun things of doing this live. You never know what's going to happen.
Well,
Well,
and,
we want to. Oh,
we-
go ahead, Frank.
Well, I was just going to transition into talking about. We kind of set up your book. We're getting ready to set up your book as you kind of drifted off. So please go ahead and tell us a little bit about your book, if you would.
alrighty. When I first came to my current church here in Thornville, Ohio, in July of 2012, I started going with a full manuscript when I preached, and I started by using a blog online, and I had some new inspiration when I came here and all. Before I came to Thornville, I kind of feel like I was one of those doom and gloom, pound the pulpit kind of preachers, and I think it kind of fed off some of what I grew up with, what I heard in years prior, and so I felt like it when I came to my new appointment that I needed to do something different, and I had this inspiration on me, and I wanted to preach more comforting things instead of all the doom and gloom, and so I ran with a blog. When I first came here, it was called the Fried Chicken and Burritos blog, and my idea was to pull off that comfort food idea, and those are my comfort foods: fried chicken and burritos. So I kind of wanted to take a spiritual twist on that and try to take verses in the Bible that were troubling or hard to deal with, and try to put a comforting twist on it and all. So the first 6 months I was here, I really ran with the blog idea, and I took a lot of those messages from the first 6 months and put them together in the book. Zach got a copy of the book there. If you want one, Matt, I'll send one over to you there and all. Kind of ran with the idea of wanting to be more comforting, and so I took a lot of those verses that were hard to run with, things like the cost of discipleship, pick up your cross and follow me. That doesn't sound very comforting. Who wants a heavy cross on their shoulder and sweating and groaning and following Jesus in this way? And when you hear those words, you automatically think of having to give up a lot of things to follow him, and that hurts. That's hard. I have to give up stuff to follow Jesus. But we find that when we go through the uncomfortable, that we get to the comfortable after that. And so I ran with that idea. And the next year in 2014, I just kind of felt like maybe I could put the book together and got it out there. Something that tied in with it was we opened what was called a little free library outside of our church. We had a couple in our church that wanted to do it, and you see them all over America, around the world, actually. A little free library. If you go to the internet and just look up little free library, you'll see all kinds of designs and little houses that have been built. And so we have one right outside of our church door here by the sidewalk. It looks like a little house with a door that opens on it. And so when I put the book out there, we opened the little free library right after that. And so you can just walk up to it and get a book out of our little free library. It's leave a book, take a book. That's the idea there. So when we opened that, I had a big giveaway on the book, and we gave several copies of the book away and all. So that's where the book kind of ran with there and all. I'm sure there's moments in all of our lives that are rough and hard to look at, deal with. But if we look at them through the light of Jesus, maybe we find the comfort that we're looking for, and something that will lift us up, something that will help us. I interweave a lot of my own personal stories there in the messages. I think that's an important aspect of preaching the gospel, is being able to use illustrations from your own life, things that I have been through. When we got to the Advent season there and all, I used some illustrations from my own life very heavily, what things I grew up with, things that happened to me. And if we can work through those things while focusing on our Lord and Savior, we'll find the hope and the peace that we want for our lives. So that's where the book takes us there, and you can find it out on Amazon. You can get it in paperback. You can get it for Kindle there. So working on another one. I've got a second book I'm working on right now. When we turn the corner into 2014, the summer and the fall of the following year, in 2014, I went on an evangelism kick, and I started a new blog called Fish and Chips. Still running with that food idea, but focusing on evangelism then. And we're heavy fishermen in our family. We like to fish. My son and I, my daughter and I, we like to get out there on the boat. We like to shore fish. And so I ran with the idea of fish and chips, and the chips being my thoughts on evangelism and just focusing on Jesus' promise that he would make his disciples into fishers of men. And so I ran with that for about 4 months, and I just collected all of those messages and put them together in a book. And hopefully it'll be out here by the 1st of August. And, so that's where we are with the book.
That's awesome, man. I'm really hungry right now. And fried chicken and burritos and fish and chips sound fantastic. You would do well to come out to New Mexico. We eat well.
I was thinking chicken and waffles. Chicken and waffles sound really good right now.
Waffles sound amazing.
Although I have to admit, oh, go ahead, Jeremy.
I'm sorry. I have several comfort foods. So when it came to starting that blog up and all, I had several ideas in my head. Chicken and waffles was one of them, but and all. But then the fried chicken and burritos kind of caught my ear there. So we ran with that instead. But we eat very well.
It's perfect.
Very well around this place.
Well,
yeah.
And I have to be honest, I don't know of a Methodist church pastor who doesn't eat well. I think it's part of our DNA to have food. And a Methodist church that doesn't eat well is not a healthy Methodist church, if you ask me.
That's exactly right. Good Methodists sit in the back of the church, and we eat well.
Oh, man. Oh, yes. Some of our favorite memes for United Methodist Memes is the potluck memes that we do. And all, and we just had one recently. I'm pretty sure Zach liked on it the other day. It was one of the July 4th sci-fi marathon shows there for the Twilight Zone, and the little boy who's pointing into the cornfield, you know. And so as soon as I saw that on another minister's page, he just posted the picture of the little boy, and that was all he had, the little boy pointing. And so I grabbed that immediately, and I tagged it right away with, "He said no more potlucks at church." Into the corner, you know.
Love it. That's so much fun. It's perfect. It's perfect. Well, very good on the conversation of memes. Oh, go ahead.
No, I've got to remember the delay. I had a lady come into my church just recently and talk to me about the healthiness of our church and making sure that our meals were healthy. And I was laughing so hard inside. I was like, that's the culture you're not going to change. There are a lot of things you can change, but that is one that you really can't adjust.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Oh, yeah. The day they Start putting healthy food.
Memes. Let's
Look, that's not going to happen. So.
That's right. That's right. All right, I'm gonna throw it in there one more time as we were talking about memes. Let's end towards our meme competition that we've had all month long, or the last several weeks for annual conference memes. You guys sent us some fantastic memes. They were so much fun to watch come through, to see your conversations, to see your thoughts and humor on this thing we call our annual conferences. So Matt, I'm gonna hand it over to you.
As we were looking at these, I'll let all three of us, kind of introduce the one that we thought was the best, and we kind of talked about it before we started shooting. But we agreed, at least the Bearded Theologian agreed, that the best one that we saw was the cost of seminary. If you remember that one, and the guy's face of just how crazy the cost of seminary was. That was our second most viewed meme, and it was the one that we felt that wasn't created by Zach or I or UMC Memes, that was the best overall, outside of the ones that we created, because the one that I created for the NASCAR had over 10,000 views, and we couldn't justify giving ourselves a coffee mug because we already have like several. But you know, that the spirit of this competition was to just kind of have some fun with it, and as we were in annual conference mode, to kind of find opportunities to meme. And it was funny to see that that one is definitely one that reaches across all conferences, regardless of where you are at and what your annual conference says about seminary, that the cost of seminary is literally that kind of face. Shocking.
Insane, man. The seminary is insane. My goodness.
The other one that my personal pick was the "If He Calls Me Britches One More Time" one. A friend of the Beardcast, Leah Williams, in the picture, standing there listening to someone talk to her, and it was very. That was one that was kind of ingrained on my head the entire time outside of the seminary cost one. And so we'll be getting her a coffee mug too. Zach, I'll let you do yours, and then
my favorite. I come to that was a conversation here in the annual conference. It was actually a DS, and one of our pastors here. And it looks like the pastor's crying and the DS is laughing at him, and I feel like that's how sometimes we go to annual conference, just drained and sad, and all our DSs can do is just laugh at us or laugh with us, or but it hit me right, it just cracks me up, and maybe it's because I know those people well, and the conversations that happened there, but man, it got me. It was pretty good. So that's my favorite. Mindy Archie created that one, and so we'll get her a coffee mug as well. Jeremy, why don't you tell us about your pick? What was y'all's pick?
Oh, I had two, and I told you I would probably be biased on ours, but you know, my favorite one was one that we did over at Memes, and last year. We ran with the Blues Brothers theme. A fan of our page made up a picture of Jake and Elmwood, and he stuck John and Charles' faces in there with the hats and the sunglasses. And so we did one of those where they're traveling to Chicago in the car, and you know the famous line from the movie, it's 106 miles to Chicago, we've got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes, and Elmwood says, "Hit it," and they go. So we turned it into a conference meme. It's 106 miles to annual conference. We've got a half a casserole, a full tank of gas, and hit it. So my other favorite that was on your page was the NASCAR meme. There, just the cars all spinning out and crashing together, and that is how annual conference feels. And I'm glad that we can laugh about it and not get bent out of shape about it, but sometimes annual conference feels like it when everybody's in the microphones and the objections and the approvals are all coming at the same time. That's how it feels. We're all boom, 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 you know. And we were talking before we started recording there and all last year. Wednesday of our annual conference was one of those days where the issues were pretty, you know, blustery, and it was a 5-hour stretch, and it was just one of the worst NASCAR crashes I've ever seen in my life. So those were my two favorites.
Well, and like
Awesome.
I said, we'll get these. We'll kind of announce it so that way those people that won the mugs will get them mugs. We'll also try to get a couple of mugs maybe over to UMC Memes people, and we'll so that way you guys can have a coffee mug as well because you guys were a big help with us in this deal. The other idea that we wanted to pitch because it's going to be that kind of season is that next week I think all the jurisdictional conferences start. And so we'd like to do it again with the Message Jurisdictional Conference. And this time we'll just pick one overall winner, and we'll just give one overall winner maybe maybe a water bottle and a coffee mug or something. We'll come up with something unique to kind of make them the winner of the jurisdictional conferences. But we want to encourage you all to post your general. The way to enter is to post it on our Facebook page. So that way we can kind of keep track of them and have fun with them and share them throughout all the world. But we'd love for you to share your jurisdictional conference memes because I know this year it's going to be a whole lot of fun time picking bishops and other jurisdictional business that needs to get done. I know in our jurisdiction it is a bishop free-for-all, and who's going where is the prime question for our jurisdiction this year, especially in my annual conference, who will be getting a new bishop this year. And I know that some of us are on pins and needles wondering who's going to be coming. And I know for me, this will be the first time I have a new bishop. And so I'm a little bit nervous about our Episcopal leadership and who that's going to be because that dictates a lot of things in our annual conferences. So I'm
Is it
in
too
prayer
soon
for that.
Is it too soon to talk about Kevin Durant for bishop?
Too soon.
Too soon.
Too soon.
Too soon.
If
Sorry,
you notice all
I
my
think-
thunder gears out of my office right now.
So sad. So sad. Hey, but Cleveland won a championship, right?
Yes, they did.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I look at it this way. If he wants to go get a ring, fine by him. He'll, he did do a lot for our area, and he did a lot for the state. But in my mind, his legacy will always be tarnished by leaving us, and especially kind of he did what every United Methodist pastor does. Oh, I'll never leave you. It will be great. We'll be here together forever. And then that next big appointment comes up, and he takes off. And there were a lot of parallels in this move. So the writing was on the wall. We just weren't listening because, well, there's not a lot of Methodists in our state.
At least you guys have sports teams. We got
That's
nothing.
true too.
We got nothing.
So we want to encourage you to continue the conversation and post those jurisdictional conference memes on our Facebook page, and I know UMC Memes will share them as they feel that they're recording, and I know I'm looking forward to the conversations that we'll have with Jurisdictional Conference, and maybe we'll incorporate that into our Beardcast. We really haven't. And some of that has just been by choice, but who knows where we may be led to. This is kind of one of the things that Zach and I just do on the fly, and we think, hey, this would be a good topic to talk about. Today we talked about humor, and I know for Zach and I, part of our connection is humor and what we do together. One of our favorite moments was going to Leadership Institute, wearing the same shirt and same hat, and just kind of following around Leadership Institute together. And it's really funny because he's in New Mexico and I'm in Oklahoma, and we asked, "Did you plan for this?" And no, we didn't. We don't know each other, which led to some great laughs and great chuckles. And we want to encourage you to keep the conversation going and stay funny. And so this is our Bearded Theologians Beardcast. I'm I'm not Zach Bechtold. I'm Matt Franks.
I'm Zach Bechtold. And Jeremy, thanks for being on with us, man. Anytime you want to be on, you just let us know.
Well, in the fall, I will grow my beard back, and then I feel like I will be more inclusive in your environment there. You know, I always shave it off going into the spring and then through the hot months in the summer around here. I don't know how you guys keep it on as hot as it gets out west there. I would have to shave it off and let it go. So
I don't go outside very much.
Once it comes back in the fall, then I will talk to you about being included in your group.
Well,
beard or no
if anything,
beard,
this just shows. If anything, this shows our inclusive nature, that we're willing to include those to the table without a beard.
Thank you.
We're good United Methodist. Everybody's invited to the table.
Amen, brother.
Awesome.
And before we sign off, also check out our Zazzle store. We've got some great mugs and stuff. I can't share enough with you how many people commented about my coffee mug at camp the last 2 weeks and asked me where could I get a coffee mug like that. So please feel free to pick something up to help us out do this ministry that we've kind of started. So for that, we'll let you be, and may you have a great and blessed